I looked for a girl missing in the woods. This case still haunts me. A girl went missing in the woods. Her name was Mary Silverton. She was 22 years old. We looked for months and only ever found one of her boots, with her left foot inside. I was part of the first search for her. Leading us was the senior park ranger, Nathan Crooks. Everyone said he was a great guy, and after I met him, I had to agree with them. It had been 2 months since her foot had been found. Even Mary's parents had lost any hope of finding her. I overheard the two discussing if there was anything left for them to keep searching for. The search had been called off early due to heavy rain, and Nathan asked if I wanted to come over for a drink. I said yes. We had gotten along well the past several months. When you spend hours searching the woods together every day, you find ways to make conversation. After 2 or 3 hours and several more drinks, he confided in me. He told me he had been at this park for 20 years and had never failed to find anyone, alive at that. He told me people went missing for a few days, maybe a week. Hikers that had taken the wrong trail or stayed out too late and lost the trail in the dark. They get home safe in the end, and he puts up a few more signs. He told me he felt like he was responsible for what happened to Mary. He had tears in his eyes. I comforted him. I told him that it wasn't his fault, that sometimes accidents happen and people go missing to never be seen again. He went silent. So did I. We sat and drank in silence for a while, and then he asked me a question. I can still hear it clearly now. He asked me if I really thought Mary would never be seen again, if I thought we wouldn't find her. I said yes. I wish I could be glad that I was wrong that night. 3 days later, Mary's parents called off the search. It had only been them, myself and Nathan, for several weeks, so I wasn't surprised. Then life went on. I never spoke to Nathan much after that. 14 years went by. One day at work, I got asked to do a welfare check on a 58-year-old Nathan Crooks. Nobody had seen him in town or heard from him in over a week. I drove over to a familiar one-story home and knocked on the door. No reply. I knocked again and called out. No reply again. I checked the handle to find the door unlocked. I knocked a last time and prayed for a reply. Once none came, I opened the door and stepped inside as the pit in the stomach grew. I saw Nathan lying face down on the kitchen floor. He was dead. Stroke. No foul play involved. Completely ordinary. The only thing odd was I heard a faint banging coming from upstairs. I looked while I waited for an ambulance to arrive, but I couldn't find the source of the noise. I never noticed the hatch to the attic. It was several weeks later that the body of Mary Silverton was found in the attic of Nathan Crook's home. She was now 36 years old. She had only been dead a few days. Starvation. Her mouth was gagged. She was missing her left foot. Submitted by /U or Canary Canvas link comments. I've picked up the same hitchhiker on every vacation. There's been a trend on all of my vacations. It's not the places I go, who I'm with, or even how I get there. I've picked up a hitchhiker on every one of those trips, and it's been the same man every time. He never looks any different, never talks, hell, he doesn't even smell like anything. He's just the same man, in the same state of existence since I was 5 years old. The first time I ever shared a car with him, I was in the back seat. My parents were driving us to Disney World. It was my first trip, as far as I can remember, and I was just so excited to meet Mickey Mouse. On the way there, we kept passing up this man in a red jacket on the side of the road. I think we passed him a dozen times or so before my dad finally stopped. As we pulled over, the man approached the window and looked us over. He opened the back door and sat down next to me without saying a word. "Hi," I said, staring up at him. He didn't reply. This same pattern continued for every family trip. No one ever brought it up. It was just something that happened when we went on vacation. I thought that I would be leaving it behind once I finally stopped going on those trips, but when I was 18, I went to the beach with some friends for high school graduation, and I saw him again. We passed him up again and again and again. I was the only one in the car who seemed to notice him at first, But eventually my friend Brian said something. Have you guys seen that old guy? We've passed him up like a million times now. What the fuck are you talking about, man? Him, look right there, the guy in the red jacket. Brian almost jumped out of his seat. We keep passing him up. Watch, give it 15 minutes and we'll see him again. He was right. We kept driving and the man kept appearing, thumb out every time. I convinced Isaac, who was driving, to stop and pick him up. I said that I knew the guy and had driven him before. He did the same thing he had done on all of those vacations before, got in and sat down without a word. I got used to it more with every trip. When I flew to France, he was waiting outside of the airport when I got my rental car. He was there when I took a cruise to Mexico with my girlfriend. This time he was just a passenger on the cruise, but he was with us almost the whole time, except at night. I don't know where he went at night. The hitchhiker in the red jacket has followed me all over the world, and I'd never had a conversation with him. However, something different happened once. I left to go camping with my son, and on the way there we saw the usual hitchhiker. I stopped, he got in, and we continued on our way. I don't know why you pick me up, he said in a low, raspy voice. He sounded so tired. I didn't say anything. I just looked over to the passenger seat to find him staring at me. Excuse me, I asked him. I don't know why you pick me up. Every time, no matter where you are, you pick me up. He looked like he wanted an answer, but I really didn't have one. I don't know. My dad did it when I was a kid. I guess I just picked up the habit. Who are you anyway? I can't. Why? I'm not supposed to talk to you at all, but you're the only one who picks me up. Why aren't you supposed to talk to me? What's that mean exactly? We aren't supposed to get close with you. It's not something that's done, not ever. Get close with me? What are you talking about? I stopped the car and stared at him, awaiting a response. I don't want to do it, not to you. You're the only one who's ever picked me up. Do what? I'm sorry. What are you talking about? Sorry for what? I just want to know who you are. I screamed at him. It was to no avail, as he simply opened the door and got out. I watched as he turned to the back door and opened it where my son was sitting. I tried to get out, but I couldn't. I wanted to stop him, but I couldn't move at all. Hey, what are you doing? Stop, put him down. Jacob, no, stop now. I watched my son get carried away, his blue coat disappearing in the tree line. Then I woke up. It was dark outside now, and I was at the campsite. I called out for Jacob, but he was nowhere to be found. I didn't even have any of his stuff in the car. I called my wife, panicked, asking if she had Jacob. She didn't know who I was talking about. I've never had a child. I didn't even pack up my sight. I just hopped in the car and started driving home. I had to find Jacob. I knew that I had a son, but I didn't. All signs point to a dream or something, maybe a mental break, I don't know. It took a while, but I finally went to go have that camping trip, and this time I didn't see the man in the red jacket. I only saw one hitchhiker, a young boy in a blue jacket. I could have sworn I recognized him, but I didn't stop to pick him up. Submitted by /u or rock and raw link comments. I think I just sold my soul. I was sitting in my car outside a grocery store I couldn't afford to shop in. Engine off. Phone at 2%. Bank account overdrawn. I'd been staring at the same email for 10 minutes. We regret to inform you. Like maybe the words would rearrange themselves if I waited long enough. They didn't. Rough day? I hadn't noticed him walk up. Mid-30s, maybe. Plain clothes. Nothing memorable about his face, which is strange, because I remember everything else about that moment. I'm good, I said automatically. He nodded like I just confirmed something for him. Yeah, most people say that. I should have ignored him, rolled the window up, but I didn't. I just needed to vent to someone before self-destructing. I lost my job, I said. Rent's due. I've got, nothing lined up. He leaned against the side of my car like we knew each other, not in a threatening way, just comfortable. What would fix it? He asked. Sorry, if you could change something in your life, he said, what would it be? I let out a short laugh. Everything. Be specific. I don't know why I answered him. Money, I said. Stability, something that doesn't disappear overnight. He nodded again like he was checking boxes. How much? Enough, I said. Enough to not feel like this. He had a serious expression. I could take care of that problem for you. I scoffed. Yeah, okay. No, really. But it'll cost you. Cost me what? Silence for a second. Your soul, he said, slowly extending his arm for handshake. I was caught completely off guard. I laughed, no longer taking the conversation seriously. Okay, I said. Sure, deal, fix my life, take my soul, sounds fair. I shook his hand, expecting him to laugh too. He didn't. Deal. Something about the way he said it made my stomach drop. He wasn't dramatic, just off. Then my phone buzzed. I looked down. A deposit notification. I frowned, opened my banking app. The negative balance was gone. In its place was more money than I'd seen in years. I looked back up. He was already walking away, whistling some eerie, unfamiliar tune. Hey, I called. What the hell is this? He didn't turn around. Fulfillment, he said. Then he was gone. I told myself it was a mistake, a glitch. Maybe fraud, even. I expected it to disappear by morning. It didn't. If anything, things kept getting better. Within a week, I had a new job with great pay and flexible hours. My boss treated me like I'd been there for years. Bills stopped being a problem. Opportunities just showed up. Life was amazing, but something weird happened. Some random woman walked up and greeted me while I was pumping gas. Good to see you again, she said like she knew me. I frowned. I'm sorry, I don't think we've met. She smiled. Not like this. Her eyes flicked over me, quickly assessing. You said the same thing last time. She smiled a little wider and stepped past me, close enough that her shoulder brushed mine, and under her breath she started whistling. That tune. I turned to look at her again, but she was already too far down the street, like she'd been walking longer than she should have. What the hell? I shrugged it off. Same thing happened a week after that. Different place. Different face. This time older. A gray-haired man wearing glasses. I recognized him instantly. Same calm demeanor. He sat down across from me at a coffee shop without asking. How's everything going? He said. I stared at him. Who are you? He tilted his head. We've already done introductions. No, we haven't. He smiled slightly. Not formally, no. I leaned forward, voice low. What did you do? He watched me. Calm, patient. I offered you a solution. You offered me your soul. I shook my head. Yeah, but that's not possible. He smiled faintly, scanning the people in the room. You'd be surprised what's possible when you're desperate. Most people think it's a metaphor, the whole soul thing. I didn't respond, like it's some abstract loss of self. He looked back at me. It's not. A long silence stretched between us. I want out, I said, raising my voice. No, he said simply. You don't. Yes, I do. He shook his head. If you wanted out, you wouldn't have agreed in the first place. That's not. I thought you were joking. Everyone does. He stood up. Panic spiked in my chest. Wait, what? What happens now? He paused. Nothing, right away. That's supposed to make me feel better. He adjusted his sleeves, grinning as he looked into my eyes. Collection happens when you least expect it. He gave me a small, almost sympathetic look. Feel better now? He asked mockingly. Then he turned and walked away. He didn't even look back. I stood there, listening to that tune fade into the distance, waiting for the regret to hit. It never did. Submitted by /U or Dread Night Horror Link comments.